Dude, drop some knowledge on me, Connor. Not gonna lie, you've known me for 6, 7 years now, and
Right.
I'm gonna keep doing this thing probably at least, like I said, at least once a year. That it's, and I mean, there's outside stuff I'm working on too that'll help that. But yeah,
Right.
and Kevin too. Thank you.
But I
And
also
help.
do
You know, I
think
go to NSA in Nashville. I've been doing this since '76, and every time I go, I learn something. Every time I talk to Connor, I learn something. Some of which I don't want to do.
but what I also do think though, Rob, is I mean, I could definitely going to figure out that quote he used about acting and reality, etc. Because what I would prefer is that we don't see you again as Speaker Academy and you're actually on the stage and you're making dollars, because what you don't believe or appreciate is that you really do connect well with people.
Yeah.
I mean, each time you're on here, I think you just have a great use of language, personality, empathy, and passion, and you connect with people. I just don't think you believe in it yourself enough.
Yeah.
That's just his biggest challenge. And whether it's going to be on the kind of area that you were talking about, that Tom was speaking to you about, or whether you go down the addiction AA road, which I think is really strong need for as well. I think there's opportunities for you there, and for Lisa as well in that area.
Rob, are you part of the union at all?
Yeah, I'm a Teamster.
Leader? Are you in leadership position?
We've been talking about that for the last 2 weeks, whether or not I want to be a chief union steward.
Duh.
I know. I hear you, man. I hear you.
You just have to be more pissed off to be one. So that
Rob, I feel like
Dr. Lori Lightfoot and find out how to act.
Rob, I feel like for you, because you're such a server and a giver and all the things you're doing, it's mindset probably more than anything, because you keep saying, how do I monetize this? It's like you just don't feel like you deserve to have it monetized somehow.
Yeah.
You don't, at some level, deep within, no matter what you're saying out loud, something's holding you back. And I think it's probably your mindset.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think exactly the same point. I do believe that. Yeah. Believe in yourself, man. I'm just going to repeat it again so you get it. You've got really good content and you connect really well with people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Colin.
Right. So welcome back, everyone. Kevin, you any thoughts as to where we want to go? I mean, I've got a few bits and pieces here I want to talk about, but actually before we do that, next week we have got the graduation. Yay! All right. So Friday night we got prom night. Okay. Yay!
Dress up Saturday.
Right. So what we do for graduation normally is that each of the participants will give a 4 to 5 minute little speech on whatever topic they want to. Presumably it's the topic that they speak to, providing us with some insights and words of wisdom on whatever topic you want to address. We're going to have Catherine Johns, who some of you may know. She is a former Chicago radio host. I refer to her as the dulcet tones of Catherine Johns, a really good communications coach as well. And Catherine will be joining us to chat about what your content is, how to connect better with your audience, the kind of content you can develop as well, and engaging your audience. So that basically is what next week's class will be. So we'll have the formal part of it. We'll do some teaching and coaching. Then we're going to have the 5 minute speeches from each of you. And then we've got Catherine we'll be doing round robin comments about the speeches as well. And then we'll have Catherine doing a bit more actual coaching and teaching as well. Kevin, you anything else you want to add about the graduation?
In the past, the 5 minute speech creates anxiety for some people to the extent that they say, oh, I can't make this session. Is it being recorded? So, and they don't take the opportunity. The people that do take the opportunity really get some valuable feedback about what they do well. So it's not going to be a critiqued in a negative way. It's what are you doing well? What could you do a little bit better? And I ask myself that every time I present. What could I have done a little better? Today, when I talked to Heaven, I even said to myself, I wonder what I could have done a little differently to make that even a little bit better, rather than stupid, why didn't I do this and why didn't I do that? So that's what it's going to be like. If for some reason the anxiety gets you that day and you don't want to do a 5-minute speech, I would suggest, Connor, we've never done this before. We could do a 5-minute interview with you to let you speak spontaneously and give you feedback on your spontaneous answers. So I just don't want you to miss next week. It's going to be very valuable to hear everybody and to participate with us as well.
I think I have to miss next week. I'm gonna be traveling and I'm like, no, but I'm gonna see if I can arrange my travel to make sure. Will this, I want to see Catherine Johns because she was the one, this is why I even knew that this was happening because I follow her on LinkedIn and I like her content and everything like that. But when will the speeches be? What part of the 4 hours will the speech component be from us?
I tell you what, we'll probably work a little bit ad lib or impromptu on the session, at least right now. But if you tell me, if you want to let us know when you want to come in or can come in, we'll definitely just allow you to come in at that stage.
Okay.
So just let me know whenever you can. As to
Yeah,
what-
I'll figure out what that day looks like. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
remind
Okay.
us that it's Eastern time.
Yeah, I'm with
It
Leslie.
won't be. I'll be on the West Coast. I'm gonna go see
Oh,
my
okay.
daughter. Yeah,
All right.
so it'll still be a different time, but
Okay.
yeah.
Right.
I'm with
Michelle?
Leslie. I'm traveling next weekend. It's my daughter's graduation from occupational therapy school.
Mm.
But we'll be in a hotel as well, trying to figure out what we're doing.
Okay.
Right.
So
What's
you were
the
joking,
jobs-
we don't really have anything Friday night though, right?
No, we don't. No.
I'll host a prom party, no problem.
So what's the job scene like for Michelle for occupational therapists?
Awesome. She's
that-
already got offers. Even, she can't even set her boards yet.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Yeah. Megan,
Great.
you were going to say?
I missed the two options. I heard 5-minute speech, but what was the second option, Kevin?
I was wondering if, I didn't even clear this with Connor, so I don't know if it's okay. But if people get so anxious about the 5-minute, like, oh God, I don't know if I can do it, and they're about to drop out with a fictitious graduation with their daughter, something like that. So then you can, I could
Those
interview you,
pictures.
for example, about this esports thing, or I could interview you about something that you want me to talk to you about. And then we can pay attention to how you do spontaneously presenting. Every time you open your mouth, you're presenting. So it's just
Okay.
another alternative way of presenting. So
I'm taking notes here. So we have the opportunity to create a 5-minute speech, you said,
Yeah.
and the speech is on what?
yes,
It's
whatever you,
whatever you want, a topic you want to speak on, etc. Or you can take the easy way out and be interviewed.
Okay,
Those are the only options.
do we need to make that decision now?
No,
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 If I already know it, is it easier?
no.
no.
Okay,
We'll be on to you next week. We'll say 5 minutes. I might send something out beforehand. If you're going to do a speech, we might ask you just to write a little 75 or 100 word intro as well, so that someone else can actually introduce you. But you
Personally,
can,
personally, I would like you to do the speech.
Yeah.
But I know there's some people that didn't show up last few times because they got anxious about their speech. And we don't want you to do that. We don't want you to miss because of that. I don't want you to miss because of that. So. But I think everybody.
I have to admit that I'm completely confused. So I would choose the 5-minute interview. I would have no idea what to write a 5-minute speech on.
It doesn't have to be, I mean, it could be a 5-minute portion of a speech.
Yeah.
I've never been wrote in a speech. So I like the whole project is for me very unseeable.
or why not do something on why people should get involved in the esports industry or something like that?
Esports for dummies so that we can understand it, right? In 5 minutes, can you make me understand it? Go. There's your speech.
Megan, none of us that are over your age really think there is such a thing. We think
Yeah.
it's just smoke. So you would have to inform us as that. I think that
Yeah.
eSpeaks for Dummies is a great idea. Esports.
And why esports is now going to be in the Olympics, because I think there are some people who just don't agree with that choice. But if you can speak proactively about the benefits of esports in the Olympics, I think
guess I
that's a
should
great
back
topic.
up. I've never even written a speech. So like, it's not about topics. Like, I wouldn't even know where to start, to be honest.
Right
Never.
there would be awesome. That you never wrote a speech.
So do it.
here's-
Do it. Do
I mean,
it.
so
Right.
I'm taking notes here, but I'm completely lost. So
Let's
I
go
can
back
see
to-
what, I'm just putting out there for Kevin and O'Connor or Connor, why you lose people, because I would have no idea where to start.
I bet you'd be a
Zero.
great, I bet you'd be a great interview though.
I would be a great interview. I'm interviewed all the time.
Yeah.
And I would never write a speech, that not even like for any reason. So like for me, it's so hard. Like I'm trying to take notes, like a speech, and I'm getting hooked on that word too. I
Yeah.
never like speech.
But what if they asked you to give a 5-minute presentation to Lori Lightfoot as to?
I
what
just
he
did that.
hasn't Yet, no. You can
Yeah.
do that. That's
I
what we
just
got.
did
That's
that.
what, that's a speech.
Oh, got it. So I'm getting stuck on the word.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's in the esports world language now.
But I'm not. That's the other thing. So I don't, yeah, I'm with you guys about like, I'm actually not in the esports. So that's another confusing component to what I do for a living.
So you're going to give us next week a section of that little presentation you gave to Laurie Lightfoot, okay? Yeah?
I'm not sure, because that's not really
Look at the trouble
what I'm
President
not
O'Connell has
passionate about
caused.
that.
She's backing out, I think.
Yeah.
She's backing out,
Your
guys.
vision, we knew what road we were going down to until Kevin Driver introduced the concept of the interview. And now look, everybody's got a head in the handbasket. It shows the importance of clear vision, my people.
So I should put a 100-word intro, and how many words is 5 minutes?
Practice,
What?
practice and time yourself.
Me?
Yes.
5 minutes
So
is
as you
2
practice
words.
and then you time yourself to start and finish, then you know,
Yeah.
you'll know.
Okay,
what
I'm
5
gonna
minutes-
do the interview. Just saying, this is, I can't even get the instructions right, and it's just me. So,
We know, we understand. We've been with you for a number of weeks. We understand.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Right.
I wanted to just say really fast that I did put 2 of Tom's quotes into the chat box for
I see
2
that.
of the coolest ones.
Thank
Mhm.
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now I have a question for you. How did you have those? Are you a fast writer, or I mean, that was pretty amazing the way you were able to come back with the quotes.
So I take notes. I have my laptop right here. So
All right.
that's what I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No, gang. What Carol is going to be speaking about is something. It's kind of different side of the business planning and business management to what Tom was doing. And what Tom did was he basically took a lot of what we've got in this manual here on module 9 and basically made it more composite, etc. So we can go through a few of those pages if you wish, but has anyone got any particular issues or thoughts about what has been covered so far, or issues that you've got in terms of business management that we can help you with? Everyone is absolutely delighted with the way they're managing their business, yeah?
Well, for me, it's really been the structure. So I'm really glad you suggested about us creating a mastermind group. I know that I've missed sessions of Speakers Academy. This is also not my first go around at Speakers Academy,
Yeah.
but it's really about structure and support and focus on the business aspects. Toastmasters is amazing. So there's so much to be gotten out of Toastmasters for speaking. But when it comes to the business of being a professional speaker, really looking for more connections there to have consistent support and feedback. So I love it that you mentioned for us to create a mastermind group.
Right.
You know, if you want to, Connor, this is, I haven't cleared this with you, but if you want to take 5 minutes, I have a business problem and I could tell you guys the problem and then you could brainstorm ideas for me based on what you've learned over the last 5 sessions.
So you're saying you'll address your business, offer your business problem, is it? Or you're asking
Yeah,
the group?
yeah. So I'm going to offer my problem, my business problem that I've been struggling with. And then you guys could think about what you've learned over the last 5 sessions and offer some suggestions to me.
I think it'd be a very good idea, but I want to clarify something. Rob was talking about the importance of monetizing his business. So, I mean, why the
Right.
heck should you get free consultation from us? I mean, you're going to have to pay all of this group for a really solid consultation, Kevin. But, yeah, let's go for it.
You're not paying me anything, Connor. I might as well get something out of this, you know?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. So let's see what the problem is. And then maybe if someone else has got another issue, we can do it that way. So go for it.
Yeah, so one of my specialty, I work primarily with doctors who are going to go from clinical practice to being chief medical officer, CEO of a hospital, things like that. And I do that about 80 times a year around the country, and and I like doing it. I have done a lot of work after 9/11. I did a lot of work in the pharmaceutical industry, working with on the medical side, with regional medical liaisons, health economics people, and all that kind of stuff. And I was doing it so much that I had to hire 9 other people to help me with it as we did advisory boards around the country. It was really fun and it was great. So one of the things that I don't do is I don't get emails. And also in the pharmaceutical business, I didn't even get emails of their private emails, which would have been much better, or even their names to go into LinkedIn. So now I'm getting a couple more pharma contracts that just came in, not through my own efforts, but from people that knew me 20 years ago. And they're not big, they're small, they're kind of this date, this date, this date. It's not an ongoing consulting contract. If I wanted to resurrect that business, the pharma business, what are your thoughts about how I ought to go about doing that? Since I don't have an email list, I have an email box of, which is a banker's box full of business cards. So I don't do anything that's terribly organized. But how can I resurrect that business to that extent that I had it after 9/11? What are some of your thoughts on that? Michelle?
You have a box of business cards, is that what you mean?
I do. It's a banker's box. Actually, I have 2 of them. So
Do you use any kind of CRM?
no,
I would find someone who will, like a high school student or something like that, that will get you in touch with a CRM and input each of those contacts in for you. And that person could be paid a minimum wage.
and then do something with the CRM once that's in.
Once you've got it in, then you can set up marketing campaigns to them.
Okay. Somebody else?
I also wanted to add on to that whoever you hire, there's a digital app that can just scan the business card and put the information in for you so that not everything has to be done manually.
Or some of these cards are 20 years old. So in the pharma business, these people hop around like bunnies. So
Yeah, but we could cross-reference
They're
that with LinkedIn.
yeah.
Yes,
LinkedIn,
exactly.
okay.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
So in other words, I would have the name and I can do LinkedIn with that.
Do a
Oh,
search on LinkedIn. Yeah.
that's good.
And one recommendation when this person is building out your CRM to include the LinkedIn link for that particular contact so that you can always use your CRM and click on the link to see what they're most recently
Yeah.
up to.
So the old way of looking at it is business cards are kind of maybe the old way of doing it. LinkedIn would be the newer way of doing it.
No, we actually just had a big conversation about business cards. Are they even necessary anymore? And they still are in this day and age, because I may have, I could drop you my card on my iPhone, but it doesn't give you a picture of me. It doesn't. The theory is you still need a business card because it's something tactile that I'm giving you and that you can
Okay.
remember me by.
Okay. Anybody else?
And I would say that anybody who has a business card should also have their QR code on their business card now.
Lynette, if you use that scanning program though, will it work with any CRM, or is that just for like a Outlook or a Google Gmail or something?
I'm not sure, but I think at the minimum you would have an Excel, output, from those,
CSV file.
because I think that would make, complete sense that when you're scanning these things, that's what it would create. But I've not used it. I just know that there's different options available now that scan the business cards for the data.
What's something I could do to define myself better or get myself out there better with regard to this specialty that I kind of used to have, or the work that I used to have, based on what you've learned over the last 5 sessions?
I would say make a list of the top 20 to 50 podcasts that have your target market, and then contact those producers to become a guest on those podcasts.
And are there specific, not retreats, conferences for that industry alone? And I'd find out what those are and how often they're held and where, and who you got to get in contact with to be a speaker.
I like that. Thanks.
There is also
Do
a
they
group
have-
on LinkedIn. I'm a member of, actually don't hit it that often, pharma event planners, I think, Kevin. If you just do a search for that, I'll get your virtual assistant to do that. That would be useful.
What about, do they have any publications? Like we have the Speaker magazine. You know, real estate agents, we've got a bunch of different magazines.
How about those of you that haven't said anything yet? What pops in your mind based on what you've learned over the last 5 sessions, or Rob over the last 5 years?
TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, you know, TikTok's cool because you can make it 30 seconds. I mean, I'm attracted to it because I know I ramble on. So the challenge would be, how can I be effective in 45 seconds? You know, YouTube, I'm mutual friends with a guy named Mark Marin. We may have talked about him in a class here. He did a podcast out of his garage and wound up getting Obama on his,
Right.
yeah. Yeah, we did talk about this guy. So yeah, you know, that's what I'm looking at too. And you could have guests. I mean, you have, you know, the space you speak in, you may know, you know, have some casual acquaintances with some of these folks. Do a Zoom thing. You know, the guy, the 2 stars from Sopranos did a limited episode production of a podcast called Talking Sopranos, and it was just the 2 of them in the screen, and then at the bottom it was, they would have a guest every week, either a producer, the director, one of the other stars, and they would just have a conversation. You know, and you may know some folks, and you know, see if you can chat for 30 minutes on a Zoom call, record it, and now you're producing content.
Hi, Carl. They're using the last 5 sessions to help me spike up part of my business that's sort of lagged for a while. So that's what we're after.
I think one of the points about podcasts, and I think there's Michelle made a comment about Kevin going on some other podcasts. And I have said it to him before, because I know Kevin at one stage was talking about developing his own podcast. My belief is that to develop a good podcast with a lot of listeners takes a lot of time. However, there's a lot of good podcasts out there that are always looking for good guests. And in Kevin's space, boy, is he going to be a good guest. So I would maybe again encourage your virtual assistant, Kevin, to figure out the top 50, 70 podcasts. And that I think would be a great way for you to get out there without you having to actually develop your own podcast.
So instead of going to the trouble of developing it and editing it and hoping to attract people, let people who've already done that work. And then apparently it's helpful for them because then they have a guest. I guess that's what they need. Right?
Yeah. That's right. And there is, I think I sent out the link previously, but I'll dig it up again. There is, I get an email once a week on podcasters looking for podcasts. I'm starting to pay attention to it for the first time, to be honest with you. But there's a lot of people out there that there's a lot of sources, aggregators out there that will identify the kind of podcasts that you're going after.
And people really listen to that stuff, huh?
I mean, Mark Maron is a guy I listen to just consistently when I'm working out or going for a walk or in the car or something like that. No, he's got a huge listenership at this stage, but he started off 15 years ago with 100 people looking at him. He was only an average comic, and he probably still is only an average comic, but he's got one of the best podcasts out there, and anything related to communication. As he said, he had Obama on. He's had a lot of famous comics on, and he's a brilliant. He's a David Letterman. I think I might have sent you that a link at one stage there. But he's a brilliant conversationalist, and so people like that are really worth listening. I find them well worth listening to. The other one I find well worth listening to, I think I said it before and I'll say it again, is social media marketing. I don't know if you know that one, Carl, or not, but Michael Stelzner, he started this maybe 10 years ago as well. Social Media Examiner is the name of his website, where he does a weekly social media marketing podcast where he talks to people. He's had a lot of people on from who are good at TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube, social media in general, but anything that's happening in marketing that is, and good, really good conversation prompted by good questions. Social media marketing podcast.
Lynette, if you don't mind, can you put some of that in the chat box? Because I don't understand what the hell this guy's saying when he starts talking.
Would it be okay if I send an email to everybody at the end, because I'm using my phone for this, and it'll just be easier. And I just wanted to mention, Kevin, too, and I'll also include this in the email to the group, that there is actually more than one service, but I know of one service where you pay them to be a guest on podcasts. And the effectiveness is that your target market is very well defined. And then they have the connections to land you on those bigger podcasts and things like this. And I don't know what their fee structure is, but I'm about to go to PodFest and a Video Creators Fest coming up in Orlando. And so that's how I heard about this particular business, but I'll include all of that in an email so everybody has that.
And then Kevin, after you're on it, you can use that to promote yourself, that you've appeared on these bigger name podcasts.
Okay. Okay.
So it's two ways for you.
Rob, what do you think I should do?
Me?
Yeah. Let me see if there's another Rob on here.
Yeah, I mean, I just, the guest thing is definitely a faster track, and I'm a fan of newsletters or constant reminders, like a 30-second TikTok. I'll do one after this class. It takes 30 seconds. I put it up there. It's done. And then if I do it every day, it's like every day I got a 30-second TikTok about something. All of a sudden, I've built a body of work, a portfolio of work that is. And this is where the hang up is. It may not monetize for me. There's a gal dancing around the music that's making millions off of TikTok videos that are less than 2 minutes long. So I would be doing it from the intention of I just want to share something. This is an idea I thought is that I think is worth sharing. The TEDx tagline.
Yeah.
So you could do a TikTok right there. Practice it 3 times, and then on the 4th time hit record, and boom. And you got a 45-second blurb about some element of your business that you think is worth sharing.
What I learned from you and Leslie today was to simplify things so that it's not dumbed down, but it's elegantly simple, so that it's very clear what you do. Like when you were talking, Rob, about the non-truck driver part of you, this part of you that what the way that you manage, how it impacts other people's lives. Or Leslie, when she was going through sort of further defining herself, that was very helpful, because I think that's something we can do at any stage in our career.
Right. I will commit to making one TikTok after this class, and I'll send you the link to my channel so you can watch it. It will be done within 30 minutes after this class, and I wholeheartedly expect you all to hold me accountable to it.
Rob, what's your handle, TikTok handle?
Rob Gaughan, my name.
All right. Okay. Now, here's an interesting thing. Kevin's eyes are glazing over when you mentioned TikTok, because he was wondering where's the clock around the place. I mean, but Leslie made the comment earlier about what's the essence of good communication is about understanding your audience. I regularly ask the question with my audiences, and I'll see what Carl, whether he might have an insight on it as well. But I asked the question, what is the main social media platform that you interact with? And just out of curiosity, I'll ask the question here. We'll see what, then I'll make the comments. So Megan, what's the main social media platform you interact with?
LinkedIn.
Okay. Michelle?
Business would be Instagram.
Okay. All right. Lisa, and then we'll go to Leslie. Lisa?
LinkedIn and Instagram.
Okay, Leslie and then Lynette.
LinkedIn.
Okay, Lynette.
YouTube.
Okay, Carl, what would be the main social media platform you kind of interact with?
LinkedIn.
Okay, and Kevin, yours would be?
Well, I post on LinkedIn and I look at it sometimes, but mostly I'm a voyeur on Facebook.
Right. Okay, all right. And no one has mentioned Tinder, no? That's the
I
line.
do talk about that in my false advertising class, the whole Tinder effect.
Right, yeah. But having asked the question, that actually it does allow me to use that line every single time as well, about the comment about Tinder. But here's the point I would like to make, though, is that my perception would be with the main audiences that I would be speaking to, let's say it would be a nursing and healthcare. When I ask the question, Instagram is the one that pops up. And I think what we forget is that there are different generations out there. We thought initially if you're talking about business, all right, everyone's going to say LinkedIn, of course, kind of thing. But there's other ones as well. But Instagram really is powerful. But what seems to be happening now, and Rob is on it, is that YouTube in particular are getting very worried about the impact that TikTok is making. So while we might think that TikTok is actually for the 17-year-old kids out there, and a lot of it is, there's a lot of 28-year-old, 35-year-old physicians out there and others who have grown up on YouTube, on Facebook, and now are on Instagram and TikTok, etc. So the 58-year-old physician mightn't be on TikTok, but the 36-year-old physician may well be on it and paying attention to it.
NSA just had I don't know where the videos live, I don't think it was NSA Illinois, I think it was national that put out, they had a guy come on and did a special thing about LinkedIn and how to, get your views up and get your site out there. And it's actually not you posting, and it's not photos. It's definitely not photos. And it's not even you posting stories. It's you commenting on other people's stories and staying there for a while. So if anyone knows where that video lives, it's actually really good. I attended it. It was actually really interesting. And we did a live test of it too, while we were doing the class.
Right.
Are any of you going to the NSA conference in Nashville? I am.
Yep.
Oh, good. Carl. Great.
I'm
Carl
thinking,
and I ran into each other the other day. Yeah.
Could you share? Yeah, could you share about what Influence is and more about it?
Sure. It's going to be, I think it's 500 or 700 people that will be doing what we do. And there'll be conferences, keynote speakers, hallway conversations, small meetings. I've been speaking since '76, and I've been going to the conferences, I think, since '81 or '82. I always learn a ton. And it's a vast array of characters that are very interesting to talk to. And you get a chance to see how many ways there are, not only to make a living, but to aspire to make a living and to keep things going. So I think it's a terrific resource. You can do it live this time. You can also do it online if you want. Live, of course, is going to give you access to the people in the hallways and the person sitting next door to you, but you can do it virtually as well. And it's a very, very good conference.
And I signed up for both nights of the special dinner, so I hope somebody else did, so I don't have to sit alone.
Okay, great. Carl, you're going?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Carl and I ran into each other at the airport the other day. So he was on a vacation, for God's sakes. I mean,
I know who takes
take the time with his children, and his in-laws. I gave him a lot of time for that. So.
Yeah.
Michelle, I don't know whether you're getting, are you a member of NSA Illinois, the chapter?
Yeah.
All right, so I think there will be notes coming out that the chapter is actually going to be getting some people together, whoever are at the groups. That would be one of the dinners anyway, I would think. You want to do that?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, now look at what just happened in the last 18 minutes. You guys taught me stuff that I don't know a lot about, and you're reminding me again of what I want to do and what I can do that can take this initiative that I want with my business another step forward. And so that's the value of the mastermind group. This would be an example of a mastermind group. I belong to 3 of them. And that's what we do. We bring a problem or an issue or aspiration to our group. then when we're in that person's city, I'm going to be in one of them. I'm going to be in San Diego next week. One of my mastermind buddies is going to pick me up at the airport. We're going to have lunch. Then we're going to talk. We're going to have a meeting. I can easily meet with her on Zoom or by phone, but of course, this is going to be even more useful because it'll be one-on-one time for pretty much the whole afternoon. And we're going to help each other with our businesses. So I really encourage you to find, doesn't have to be these people, but you can make it these people, and all you need to do is send out an email and say, would you like to have a meeting? And then you set up some regular meetings, and it's a great way to further your career. It's also a great way to give back. Look at what you just did to me after 5 sessions with, primarily Connor, that you've had an opportunity to kind of figure out, maybe this is another way to do things. So really that's what you really want to be thinking about post Speakers Academy.
Right. So if anyone has a question that they would like to address about their business, please give it to me in a couple of seconds time. Michelle, in response to your query about that guy from LinkedIn, I'll put it in the notes, but Speakernomics is a podcast that Tom Singer, who's an NSA member, does on a weekly basis. Is open to anyone, Speakernomics. And he did say that he was going to post much of that LinkedIn interview up on his podcast. So I think maybe the first half of that podcast is probably up, and the first half of that presentation is probably on his podcast now, which is called Speakernomics. Kevin, I tell you, man, if when you're at the airport, you spend a lot of times at the airport, dig into a couple of these podcasts that you'll really find them useful, I would think.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Now, of course, the important thing of all this is these are great ideas. I have to do something with them now, right? Rather than just say, I should really do that stuff that people said about TikTok. So proof's in the pudding, right?
The proof is in the pudding. That is true. Yes. Yeah. In fact, I'll give an example of the way I get this message across. When I'm doing material, I think I provide good content, but I say to people, just because you want to make something happen, it ain't going to happen. And there's a couple of lessons now in what I'm going to do going forward here. What I'm going to do now is, so let me just rephrase it. Just because you want something to happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. I'll tell you a story about Patrick, who was a good living Irishman. And Patrick, I get no respect from Mr. O'Connor. It's a terrible thing. I mean, he dropped.
I'm going to go on mute.
I'm under intense emotional pressure here now, Rob. I need your help on this. Okay. So Patrick was a good living Irishman who ran into some financial difficulties due to gambling, womanizing, and drinking. All right. So the Irish definition of good living is pretty broad. Kevin is really taking off now. All right. Patrick's granddad dies, and Patrick goes out to the granddad's house to clear out the house. He clears out the house, and then he goes out to the garage. And as he's clearing out the garage, he brushes against a lamp. And out of the lamp pops a good effort, Rob, good effort, but it wasn't. It was a leprechaun. Okay? Get with the program. All right? So the leprechaun says, Patrick, I'll give you one wish. To which Patrick says, leprechaun, I thought you gave 3 wishes. And the leprechaun says, COVID, you know the problems of supply chain and everything, you're only getting 1 wish. So Patrick says, all right, if you let me win the lottery, I'll pay off all of my debts. I'll give the rest of it away to charity. And the leprechaun says, that sounds like a good idea, good goals and attitudes and behavior, which actually spells GAB, G-A-B. I'll let you win the lottery. 1 week goes by and there's no lottery win. 2 weeks go by and there's no lottery win. And after week 3 and no lottery win, Patrick goes out to the garage again. He brushes against the lamp, and out of the lamp pops a
Leprechaun.
Hey, you're learning audience, Michelle. I love it. I love it. Okay. And the leprechaun says, what can I do for you now, Patrick? To which Patrick responds, leprechaun, you told me I'd win the lottery and I haven't. The leprechaun responds, Patrick, give me some help here. At least buy a lottery ticket. Okay, it's an old story. It's a goofball story. I've kind of customized it a little bit to the Irish mentality, etc. But it's a story with a moral. And the moral is that just because you want something to happen doesn't mean it's going to happen. Just because you desperately want to become famous for something within the speaking confraternity, that ain't going to happen because I want it to happen. You got to do something. What I would suggest to you is what you're learning here, let's say in the Speaker Academy, is in a sense the metaphorical lottery ticket, that if you take that and use it, you have a real chance of making it happen.
So leprechauns help those who help themselves.
Indeed, yes, indeed, indeed. So, but I mean, quite seriously, that's something I use in every single presentation as I'm kind of getting close to wrapping it up, saying, if you want this to happen, you got to do something.